Okay, let's see how this works. So pretty much, I can't change the camera view on the original camera program. So I'll try this. Anyway, this is a little in regards of demons and in regards to the occult and all that. And I found this woman, which says, "Why am I not a Christian anymore? My deconversion story." Now, I come a little from the other side. As I understand it, she lives in an area where everybody believes in God. Now, of course, in Denmark, a lot of people don't believe in God. So, and of course, she also has there's like a triangle mark. She has a tattoo at some point where she shows it in regards of her hand. I'm not be able to find it apparently. On her right hand, there's like a triangle. Anyway, Oh, it's actually also another I just looked at. Of course, you have the triangle as well. Anyway, so she's talking about, she's not a Christian anymore and so forth. And she's also cursing a lot. So it's like the opposite of what I was cursing a lot beforehand. Just horrible to see some of my former videos. It's just, and still I have some of the videos from my when I was still in Satan's Candy Store, and I'm like, something in me is just don't want to look at it or anything at all. I should probably delete those things. But anyway, so I wrote to her because I was like, okay, so I was thinking of just reading it aloud here. So this is me writing to her. I'm not sure. I don't think I can zoom. Nope, zoom is not supported for this mode. So I came from a background of a believing atheist, an evolutionist, believing in billions of years, millions of years, and so forth. That we came from apes, because in Denmark it's the norm that you believe in evolution. That's like you get it from television, you get it from your family, you get it from friends, you get it from society, you get it from the school system, that this is the truth of truth in regards of evolution and millions of years, and that we are actually just animals and so forth and so forth. And every time you hear about dinosaurs, it's like millions of years ago. Well, they have a little, of course, when they don't want to look on the proof that we find in regards of man-made tracks, in the dirt, and dinosaur footprints, which was actually called dragons before 1841, because dinosaur was invented in 1841. You can look that up. It's not that hard. We have Google. You can just Google it. It's just so easy today. You don't even need to know in some films, the alphabet, in regards of a lexicon where you need a book and all that. I always had trouble with that. It's just awful because I could never remember 1, 2, alphabet. Is it the one direct or actually alphabet? So that would be R, B, or A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all those. So I couldn't remember which way I should go in the book. To look up. I always got bad grades and all that because I couldn't look it up. Now, of course, in regards of the mobiles and the computers, you can just look it up like this. You don't need to know where the letter is in the alphabet or the alphabet. You just need to know how it's, the first letter and so forth, and the computer will have it. And it's just so much easier. Anyway, so I wrote this to her, and, I still think that's the thing is, of course, we can find many doctrines and all that, but, Satan, of course, will attack where there's most truth and try to deceive those people and get them. Anyway, it's much easier when I've written something and it's just, I can use some time thinking of what to write and so forth, and instead of just. So anyway, so this is what I write. Sounds more like a rebellious women, LGBT, whatever movement is deeply satanic. Now this is all in regards to the homosexual things and whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, everything it seems, And she talks about the LGBT and puts extra on it as well, and you the thing, it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and again they're talking about now pedophilia being okay and so forth, has sex with animals, homosexual, it's just disgusting and all that. It's just, and parading in Copenhagen for sin. What is that? One thing is to commit a sin, another thing is to, let's celebrate it. What are you doing? You shouldn't celebrate committing sin, transgressing God's law. Anyway, and of course I don't think we should eat swine flesh either. And a lot of Christians have problem with that, and a lot of Christians or a lot of believers got murdered because they didn't want to eat swine flesh. They wanted to keep the Sabbath, and they wanted to keep the feast of God. Oh boy, that's legalistic and Judaizer. Yeah, it's just terrible. Yeah, just terrible to listen. So, we have been warned in regards of wolves in sheep clothing and so forth. So, the bad seeds are growing up with the good seeds. And actually it should be because the good seeds was actually sown first. They were sown by the Son of Man, which would be Jesus. And then afterwards, an enemy comes around and sows the bad seeds. Now, what is the good seeds and what is the bad seeds? Well, the good seeds are those trying to guard the commandments of God. The bad seeds are the lawless seeds. Like saying that the law has been abolished, nailed to the cross, trodden underfoot, and it's bad and evil and so forth, It seems a little or what do you call it? Seems a little lawless to me, trashing the law of God. Anyway, so what could be more lawless than to say the law is abolished? I don't think you can find anything more lawless than that. One thing is to say that some of the commandments are done away with and so forth, but to say the whole law of God is, gone, that's just and these people will then, in some sense, witch hunt the people trying to. Maybe that's a bad word, but they will, if they will pretty much attack those that tries to keep the commandments of God and wants to keep them and guard them and so forth, and of course keep the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now, that's not to say that we are perfect and all that, but if we're not going to try at least, we'll not, we'll not get any closer, right? And I think it's pretty easy in regards, Jesus was our master and our master kept the law. And so it wouldn't be a bad thing to keep the law as our master kept the law, and as our master said and told us that a disciple, which we are disciples, right, of our master, if we're disciples of our master, disciples should become as his master. And he told the disciples to go out throughout the whole world and make disciples of him, right? So I think it's pretty clear. Anyway, we have a lot of words, and again, I would advise people to just skip the letters of Paul, at least in the beginning. There's a lot of other books to read than Paul's letters, And I know where the letters of Paul leads a lot of people. So let's just say, let's just say that he's okay and all that. But apparently it still leads people so far astray, and it splits the people, and I think it's pretty clear when I have the experience of talking with a lot of people, and a lot of people becoming very angry and offended and so forth. Anyway, so of course, he's still a great witness in regards of Jesus being around, and that he actually was the Son of God and God in flesh and so forth. So that's not the problem. Again, that's the thing. Wolves in sheep clothing, right? We are warned in regards of wolves in sheep clothing, so maybe we should expect there would come a wolf in sheep clothing, or many wolves in sheep clothing, and maybe we should expect an enemy sowing the bad seeds among the good seeds in the world, Because Jesus told us that would be so, and they would grow up until the harvest, which is your future. So, they're still growing up together. Both the good seed, the wheat, the eatable wheat, and the poisonous Darlene. I think it was Darlene. I think it's Darlene. Darlene. Now no. I remember the Danish language of it. Let's see. Darlene. Oh, Darlin. Wheatgrass. Maybe I can just grass. See if I can see from the Danish to the English. Ryegrass. Nah, that's another way. Oh, here we have Darnel. There we go. Gifty ryegrass. Yes. So we just we can give a little image here of Darnel, and it calls Lolium timuletum. Arisian ryegrass or something like that. As you can see, it looks a little like here we actually have wheat before it is fully ripe, and the teres Lolium tinu. It looks a little, but there's still some differences and all that. And of course, the fruit is bad over here, and the good fruit is over here. So that's pretty much, as you can see, it's like this way, there, where the wheat is more, going just straight up. Anyway, I'm not going to keep the phone there. Apparently, there's a hand. It's a little hard to hold the phone and all that. It's a little. But anyway, let's go back to the. So here we have another, and here we have a triangle. Of course, if you have the Freemasons, which are Satanists, they of course have also the triangle. Of course, the Catholics, Romanism has it as well. And as I understand it, also called the Holy See, which lead back to Rome. And then you have the Freemasons, which call this eye with the triangle the great architect and so forth. It's Satan. They're not worshiping the God of the Bible. If you're a Freemason, you can have whatever book on the thing, and they take all these oaths and all that. So when they say it's a Christian organization, oh no. And you can just go to the topmost people and see what they say. But anyway, just reading the Bible should actually, tick something off. I'm not sure how these so-called shepherds, priests can actually go into this without actually, something seems wrong here. It's just terrible. In regards of this article, like every 13 priests in Denmark, and that was a pretty old article now. It's I think it's over 10 years or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it was old. It wasn't up to date, so who knows how many Freemasons we have in the churches today. Anyway, let's go back to this. Okay, sounds more like a rebellious woman. LGBT, whatever movement, is deeply satanic. And of course, we know what is sin, right? And of course, the feminist movement is also satanic and, rebellious, have murder in their hearts, wanted to change family values, have free sex, and so forth. It's just disgusting. And of course, in Denmark, we made porn free, and we're talking about, sort of the Danish free spirit or whatever. Well, that's just another word of, running to Satan and not being instructed by God, because God, seems to be such an evil dude that doesn't want us to do these things, right? Maybe it's because it's bad to do these things, and maybe it's good to do, have a family, have children, working together, not murdering your children. And not, sticking your weenie up in another man's trash bin or whatever. I shouldn't even have said it. It's just terrible. It's just terrible that, it's totally normal, people say. You just, yeah, because, just... Anyway, so... I'm writing here. I came from a background of the occult. It's a little hard to actually get all the text here. Okay, maybe I can actually. Can I do this? I came from a background of the occult and having contact with so-called spirit guides led me astray into false doctrines. False doctrines, for example, like reincarnation and that God is everything, that I am God and I see myself in you, so you are God and I'm God, and why, if I see myself in you, why would I throw a stone against you? Which sounds pretty good, but, it's still false doctrine in regards of, being God and everything is God and whatever, and we are evolving into Godhood and so forth. And reincarnation, that when we are dead, we just, respawn in another life and so forth and so forth and so forth, evolving into Godhood, whatever. So some of these doctrines was some of the things that I was shown by some of these demons, as they are. They are demons, and those beings are not something we should contact, because when we contact them, their deceptions are just so slimy. You can get religious experiences, and they can, they can seem so clever and intelligent and so forth. But we shouldn't seek them for truth, because they're deceiving spirits, they're lying spirits, they're probably in regards of familiar spirits, would probably, spirit guides, familiar spirits. We shouldn't contact them, or we shouldn't contact others that have, that's the thing in regards of, I think it was Socrates that has, a contact with a demon, and Plato is writing about that, and I trashed the book, but anyway, you can, if you're interested in such things. Anyway, I think it's better to just read the Bible and skip the letters of Paul, pretty much. Or at least, until at some point that, just at least be aware that may actually be some leaven in the letters of Paul. That's my view on it anyway, looking at how people are led astray. Anyway, so I came from a background of the occult, and, First, I was a believing atheist. Then I was an evolutionist. Then I got into the occult. Little by little, you're seeking health. Yeah, I had some health issues, still have health issues. But anyway, so you're seeking, the doctors are not being able to help you and so forth. So you seek other ways, because there are actually some more natural ways in regard. But then they mix it with all these satanic things. And then you little by little, step by step, you get into, you're in some sense already in Satan's candy store, but you get deeper into it. You begin to taste more of the candies that are found in Satan's candy store, many flavors and variations and doctrines and so forth. Then you begin to promote these things and tell people about these things, and oh boy. And then you pretty much are doing the will of Satan and leading people away from Jesus Christ, who is the truth. So, yep. Jesus Christ is the truth. Even Paul is verifying that, Jesus is God in the flesh. Jesus is the Son of God. This is not a doctrine that Paul invented. The Mohammedans will say, oh, Paul invented, in regards of Jesus being God and all. No. You can find that all throughout the Bible. It's not something Paul invented. But what the issue is with Paul, and you can see this from, I had some historical sources that is said to go back to Marcion, which was a Pauline Christian that only used the letters of Paul and the book of Luke, an edited version apparently. So, and he believed that Paul only was the one that understood Jesus and so forth. And Paul never walked with Jesus. But anyway, so we have the prologues, or people think it's the prologues from Marcion, the letters of Paul, where he writes this is, this and that. And it's very favorable in regards of Paul. And of course, if it was coming from Marcion, which is said to actually also have collected the letters of Paul and made them popular, I don't know. But anyway, in any case, he is really fond of Paul. And he, of course, if he would write prologues to the letters of Paul, like in the beginning, it would, of course, be very favorable for Paul, and it is. But we see something that is very, very. We see two gospels going out into the world. And of course, those bad people in the prologues are those that spread the gospel in Jesus Christ's name and teach the law. So you see, we have the gospel of Paul, which is grace over grace and so forth. And then we have those Judaizers who, legalists who teach the law and the faith in Jesus Christ. So these are the two main gospels that seems to go out. And if we look back in Acts, who were the people that actually went out in the world and taught the law of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ? Or could it be the disciples of Jesus Christ actually? Could it be those in Jerusalem that actually was zealous and on fire for the law? Could it be? And why would these disciples be zealous and on fire for the law? Well, maybe because their master kept the law. Maybe. But anyway, so the problem is not in regards of Paul, in regards of witnessing that Jesus is Christ, because he is. The problem with Paul is he's leading people into lawlessness. And, you can just, many of those so-called Christian forums, you can just, try to, talk a little about the feast of God or the Sabbath or not eating swine flesh or, so forth. Whoa. They are ready to burn you on the stake, And if you talk anything about the law, oh boy, So anyway, it's not all, of course, but just be aware. And of course, they will always quote Paul, Every time lawlessness is being defended or whatever, it's Paul. They're quoting Paul. So you quote Jesus and they quote Paul, and it's like, okay. So you say Paul says this, Jesus says this. Who are you going to go by? Who is our master? Who is God in the flesh? Oh, that would be Jesus, right? So if Jesus says something and Paul says something else, who are we going to go by? Going to go to Paul or going to go to Jesus? I'll stick with Jesus, I think. I think that would be a wise thing. So anyway. So, and we have different things in regards to that. Sorry about that. I'm getting out of. Anyway, let's go back to the text here. Let's read on. So it's just a little more because I can't write everything to people. So, but I got into the occult for a couple of years. Got deeper and deeper into it and so forth. Got in contact with demons, which I didn't know were demons and so forth. Got spiritual experiences and so forth and all that. Tried different things and all that. Anyway, so, and of course we have all these versions of Jesus, who is Jesus and so forth. And we have so many false versions of Jesus out on the market in the world. And again, I have, you have the Egyptian mystic version of Jesus. You have the Druid version in India. You have, the Guru version in India and the Druid version of Jesus in England, and the Ascended Master Jesus and the Only Prophet Jesus, the Cookie Jesus of the Catholic, and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth, the Sun Jesus in the sky, and it's just, you have so many versions. The question that Jesus asked his disciples, but who do you say I am? Now, if you want to know who Jesus is, find the Bible, read the first 4 books in the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So when you have read those 4 books, you would have should have a lot better idea who Jesus actually is. Not all these false versions and so forth. Anyway, let's go on. So, I came from a background of the occult and having contact with so-called spirit God. Oh, and that's also the thing. When I was in the occult and also in the truth movement, I'm not saying the truth movement have a lot of truth, but you're getting led into also all these satanic things. But anyway, in regards to the truth movement, what was it called? In regards of seeking truth, in regards of the things of the age of the earth, because you believe in evolution and all that, right? So you seek these people and some information here and there, and they find out that we actually find like man-made things in the layers that are like, woo, going far, far back, which shouldn't actually, which doesn't compute with the original story and all that of evolution. So, and these people were not even Christians. And I remember a woman that lost her job because she didn't want to back down on what she found and so forth. So she, the so-called career down the drain because she stood on truth. So, but apparently the system didn't like that and so forth. But you have many different stories in regards of, if you're actually getting money to do some research and you find something that, maybe promote something you don't want to be promoted, well, if they take your money for the support for your work, you cannot really work anymore and so forth. Anyway, so they have a great power in regards to that. But anyway, so actually, you find all these things and you get into these ideas that it was, aliens or that made these things or whatever. You have weird theories of this, and things just keeps getting older and older and older, like 300 millions of years back, because they find man-made objects in the coal, and the coal is said to be 300 million years, and then they go further back, and you get into these wild stories and all that. And then at some point I found out in regards to the Bible, in regards of creation, and everything seemed to fit now. All the pieces that I had, collected in that time, just, if you just actually just fix the issues that actually the world is only around 6,000 years. And that man lives with dinosaurs and so forth, or dragons and so forth, everything just seems to fit. And the coal in the earth, and the oil in the earth, and the fossils in the earth from a worldwide flood. Everything seems to fit, and and you go for, anyway, just wonderful. Anyway, going back to the thing. It's a lie. It's a deception. Satan deceives the whole world. We should just take it a little seriously, or maybe we should take it immensely seriously, because a lot of Christians doesn't take it seriously, and we are just running with false doctrines in this direction, doctrines in that direction, doctrines in many directions, and maybe we just should study the Bible and stand on what the Bible actually says instead of all these weird doctrines, How can you be a Christian and believe in reincarnation? You have either you die once or you die twice. That's the biblical, prescription. Either you die once or you die twice. That's the thing. If you only die once, you live everlasting with God. And if you die twice, it's because you've been judged by your sins and you're cast into the lake of fire. And you will be no more forever and ever and ever. Now, in regards to the doctrine of going to heaven, I'm not sure where that comes from. That's my view on it anyway. As I see it, when we die, we're going to the realm of death. Like Jesus was in the realm of death 3 days and 3 nights, and then he was raised up. And he's coming back to raise us up. So if he's coming back to raise us up, it doesn't really sound like we are actually in heaven with him at that point, right? Because if he's going to come back to get us, well, why would he come back to get us if we're already in heaven with him, So anyway, and there's some issues in regards to translations because of the word hell. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So I came from a background of the occult and having contact with so-called spirit guides, or maybe I should use the mobile here, led me astray into false doctrines, like in regards to reincarnation, for example. They took me into, a lot of the Eastern doctrines as well and all that. And as I understand it, also evolution actually comes from India. Maybe you can actually lead it back to Babylon, who knows, I don't know, but at least it's going to India, it seems, and India to the Greek, and some I think also some Romans, and then of course Darwin made it popular in the West. But this is not true. true. It has never been true. It's a demonic doctrine, to reject God. Even if you could put the millions in, some Christians or some learned people, all these, try to put millions and millions of years into the 6 days of creation. And the 7th day he rested. So it's actually a 7-day, I'm not sure if we call it a 7-day creation, but 6 days he created everything, and the 7th day he rested, and that's why we have a 7 days week, but of course we corrupted that in Denmark, so now we have made the first day into the 7th day and the 7th day into the 6th day according to man-made tradition, which is wrong, of course, because God doesn't follow man-made tradition. He follows his law and his rules, and we should do the same because he's God. Anyway, so that we changed that in 1973 was the first year in Denmark, where Sunday was the last day of the week. Before that, it was Saturday, which is a lot closer to the biblical truth. Now, it's not totally correct because the day in regard to the Roman calendar starts at midnight and the biblical day starts at sunset. So there's still some variation, but at least it would be a lot closer and so forth. Anyway, so I got off topic again. I have a way of going off topic. It seems like... Anyway, so where do we go? Okay, so yeah. So let me stray into false stock. And in regards of coal and oil also, people believe, it takes so many millions of years to make coal or oil and so forth. That is not true. We have, in laboratories, we have made coal very quickly, and oil as well can be made very quickly under the right circumstances. So it doesn't take millions of years. It can actually be very quickly if you just have to say the circumstances. Also in regards of clay becoming stone and all that, there was something about that. Because I heard about a company that actually made this thing that they could in some sense paint a tunnel. And the paint itself, or this clay, would become stone very quickly. So this technology thing it was to harden the tunnel apparently. But anyway, and we see all the layers, and when an evolutionist see all these layers, he's thinking, millions of years and years and years. And a creationist will say, these layers are from the flood. You see all these layers, and if they are millions of years, you would maybe expect some corrosion, maybe? Corrosion from the rain and so forth, and you don't see any corrosion. You just see flat line most of the times. And these can be seen all over the earth, When I was in Israel, there's just like everywhere, a lot of places anyway, you see these flat lines. And you can see it on video as well when you have from different kinds of the world, and you see the same phenomenon. Flat, and so forth. So this is from the worldwide flood, and 8 people survived. That's another argument when people are like, for example, the Mohammedans are saying, religion has to be true because we have 1.8 billion people that believes, this is not a democracy. And if you remember in regards of the judgment of the worldwide flood, where God judged the world, only 8 people survived. Now, how many people there were in the world at that time, I don't know, but it could be a lot. And the thing is, only 8 people survived. So this is not a democracy. So using this thing as, we are so many of this and so many of that and so forth, is not an argument that, actually also the Book of Acts is also, using in some sense that argument. But the Mohammedans could use it as well. In regards, we have to have the truth because we have 1.8 billion people. Maybe some of them are actually afraid of leaving because you will kill them if they leave the faith in Allah who has no son, which is just Satan. Anyway, so... of course, Muhammad, which was a pedophile. He had sex with a 9-year young girl named Aisha when he was 54 years old. You can look that up. You have Google to look it up. Anyway, And of course, the Mohammedan don't believe Jesus is God. They don't believe he was executed on the tree and so forth. So you have three pillars of the Bible in regards of, if you deny the Son, you deny the Father. You don't have the Father if you deny the Son. So that's a bad thing. And of course, not actually rejecting that he was executed. Muhammad is coming like nearly 600 years after the event. Why would you believe in him? Why would you believe his doctrines over the doctrines found from the first century, from people actually seeing these things, observing the things? I think it's insanity. It's absolutely insanity, and people just need to, and don't go to the Roman Catholic Church. If you come out of Mohammedanism, don't go to the Catholics. They are idol worshippers. See the bowing down before idols and statues made by hands of man, and images and so forth, and keeping the wrong day of the week, and just read the Bible for yourself. Be careful and not bowing down or venerating the cookie Jesus. It's symbolic. You break the bread because his body was broken, the lamb was slain, and his blood poured out for the sins of the world. The wine, it's symbolic, do this in remembrance of me. First it was prophetic because Jesus did it before he was actually executed on a tree, and afterwards it was for a remembrance of what he did. Anyway, for us. So anyway, going back to, I'm getting off topic here. Okay, let's see. I came from a background of the occult, and having contact with so-called spirit guides led me astray into false doctrines. Those so-called spirit guides are deceiving liars. They are demons in disguise and can even portray themselves as beautiful beings. The old snake was not happy when I stepped out of his candy shop. Old snake, that's Satan. And of course, then people say when you use Satan is actually just a word meaning the adversary and so forth. Does it? Doesn't matter, in regards, of course. But, it is Satan. Satan is Satan, the old snake, the dragon, the liar, the murderer, and so forth, And, anyway. So, you curse nearly as bad as I did before finding Christ and find out what some of these curse words actually meant. And, it's really, when you're cursing, it's just so bad what some of these curse words means and all that. So, it's, why do it, why continue doing it when it means all these things? And when I look at some of the videos from beforehand, it's like half of the words that I say are curse words. It's just terrible. Anyway, one should expect that there are many wolves in sheep clothing. Sheep clothing, as our master told us there would be, and which place do... it's a little hard when you're actually looking at the mobile. At which do you... Okay, let's see. Many wolves in sheep clothing, as our master told us there would be. And which place do you think that Satan would try to hit the hardest? Those being closest to the truth and the greatest enemies of Satan, snake, dragon, Lucifer, liar, and murderer, who deceives the world, or deceives the whole world. That would be those that guard the commandments of Jehovah, and the testimony of Jesus Christ. You see, there is no point to attack atheists and evolutionists, much as they already have bought the lie and the works of Satan, and promote his many lies and deceptions without even believing in their snake boss. Win-win situation for Satan. The same thing when I was in the occult and promoted his lies and deceptions. There was not really much of a battle, it seemed, but But leaving the shop, things change big time, and you find yourself in the midst of a worldwide battle going on. You see, there's a battle going on in the world, and so many people are being led astray, and I have some problem with the battery apparently. That's not good. Do I have a way of actually maybe I have something that I could just plug in. Now of course 15% when you actually have a big what do you call it, a big battery in the mobile shouldn't actually be a problem, but anyway, I just get some yay some cable here. Oh yeah, let's try again. At least I'll get it some juice then. Take this out and put the, there we go. So let's see, where did we get to? Okay, I was in the occult and promoted the lies and deceptions. That was not really much of a battle, it seemed. But leaving the shop, things change big time, and you find yourself in the midst of a worldwide battle going on. And you find yourself in the battle going on because, again, you know, if you look at how many are led astray by the lies of Satan, we have Romanism, we have Mohammedanism, we have Hinduism, we have Buddhism, we have the so-called New Age things and the Jewish mystical stuff and all that, and all of it are just leading away from the truth. So if you count the amount of people being led astray by Satan, and of course believing atheists and evolutionists in that, you know, so you have billions of people being led away from, you know, from the truth. Yeah, it's terrible. So it's a great battle going on, and we have to stand for truth and raise our light to the world, and you know, speak some truth, and stand instead of, you know, in regards of compromising, in regards of evolution that a lot of Christians apparently have tried to compromise. Well, you cannot compromise. Even if you can put the millions of years in the days, you still have a problem, because evolution says that we are evolved from apes. And then you go further back and it's actually a pool of mud, which apparently became alive by a miracle, which have never been observed, that non-living matter becomes alive. Anyway, so over these millions and millions and actually billions of years, what is like, I cannot remember, it was 3.8 billion years that life apparently came on the earth, and you know, and here we are coming from, or evolved from apes. You know, you really have to be brainwashed to actually believe that we are actually apes, you know. But anyway, the thing is, the Bible says that the gods the gods said, let us create man in our image, in our likeness. So I think I'm not sure in regards to the translation. Normally they translate as God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. But I think you could actually translate as the God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Again, you have the our, you know, let us plural, make man in our plural image, in our likeness, again plural, our. So, and in regards to the Hebrew, it's actually the word Elohim, and the word Elohim is actually the plural form of God. So I'm not sure if you could actually do it. I need to still study more Hebrew, but it seems like it would be an okay translation. But anyway, the thing is, that's that's just going on a whole nother trail. Going back to the thing. The thing is, God created us in His image. In the beginning, on the sixth day, nearly 6,000 years ago, or around 6,000 years ago. So, you know, we're not coming from apes. We are. So if anyone tells you that evolution doesn't go against what is in the Bible, you know, millions of years and all that, and we are coming from apes and all that, something is wrong. You know, either they are lying, willingly lying and deceiving you. You know, it seems like some of these learned people should know better, like for example Catholics, Romanism, Roman Catholics, these so-called shepherds, maybe more like shepherds in wool clothing. But anyway, they should know better, they, big education, whatever, they, the clever people and all that. But apparently some of them are promoting the idea of evolution and millions of years. And thus it was like, again, of course one has to be careful in regards of which sources are okay and all that. But I have seen Catholics absolutely standing on this doctrine. This is horrible. I can just remember out of my mind 2 discussions about this. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. Anyway, and I have read that the Pope also said, so-called Pope, so-called, well, the unholy father in Rome, said that it couldn't be done in any other way, that God couldn't have done it in any other way. If he actually said that, and I haven't confirmed that and so forth, but if he actually said that, I've seen the movie where he's, slippery, slippery, slippery. Oh, come back to me, because we don't actually have that much in difference and all that. Oh, no. Your people are bowing down before idols and statues, that's an idol, images, kissing them, and, what are you doing, And the Queen of Heaven, whoa, what are you doing, Anyway. So, same thing in regards to the Orthodox as well, the Greek Orthodox and probably also other Orthodox in regards of the icons, and they think the Holy Spirit is in the icon, the image, and they're kissing this icon and also making the upside cross. Both of them are actually both the Orthodox and the Catholics are making the upside cross. But one, at least I think it's the Greek that make it from one side to another side, and the Catholics make it from the other side to the, but it's still making the upside cross, it's, why would you make the upside cross? Just look at it, just draw it and see what they're actually making. It's an upside cross. It's an upside cross. People don't realize it. It's an upside cross they are making when they're so-called crossing themselves. Anyway, apparently the video stopped now, and maybe that's is maybe it filled up. The only is apparently this mobile is apparently only allowed to record for 4 gigabytes. Again, this I think is all these things that you actually. Where the things are actually going against. So if I have found out in regards of a program that can actually mix the things together and all that, but it takes so long. It just takes. Anyway, so I was talking about the so-called Pope and the Orthodox system and making the upside cross and whatever and evolution. If they can't even stand on the Bible, and also the Lutheran so-called shepherds are not standing on the Bible either, it's just terrible, Anyway, so when you talk to these people or listen to these people, you're thinking, what is going on? How could you ever be a shepherd and you have this long education and so forth, get this great salary and so forth, and you can't even stand for the truth? The flood was just a local flood. Oh, what? A local flood? I don't think you have read the Bible, or maybe you have this, you just distorted it out of proportions, Are you in? Yeah, it just got. There's nearly no words for it, that people could actually, these deceivers, they should shepherd the flock. They shouldn't feed them with how do you call it? They should feed them with good food. They shouldn't feed them with molded food. And it seems like they're feeding people molded food. Anyway, so let's go back here. Let's see, I got that was okay. I think I actually did the third time, but let's just take this again. There was not really much of a battle, it seemed, but leaving the shop, things changed big time, and you find yourself in the midst of the worldwide battle going on. Yeah. And I write to her, some of these are responses to some of the things she talks about in the video. Did Jesus also not say the good seeds would grow up with the bad seeds unto the harvest which is yet future? Expect wolves in sheep clothing and be alert. Yeah, we should absolutely expect wolf in sheep clothing because our master, who is in heaven, told us that be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. They look like sheep, but they are wolves, grievous wolves, I think they're calling it. But so should we expect it? Absolutely, we should. So, and again, they are, in some sense, they are mixed together with the in the world in regards of the good seeds and the bad seeds are, yeah. So of course someone had to sow those bad seeds, and I think that's one that is a good possibility, because Jesus is warning us in regards to the Pharisees and the leaven of the Pharisees, and also the leaven of the Pharisees and the Herodians. And some believe that Paul had some infliction in regards of that part in regards of Herodian, but at least we know that he was, saw himself as a Pharisee, and he was a Roman citizen, and he went to Rome. And well, what do we have in Rome? Oh, we have the Catholic Church in Rome, don't we? Maybe. And actually, who actually did the first Inquisition? And if you talk about, Romanism, they're talking about, the so-called Holy Inquisition, where we go out and murder the true believers in Jesus Christ, because they don't want to take the Eucharist that we think conforms into the body of Jesus and so forth. Yeah, which seems like to actually be witchcraft. But anyway, so if just murder the people that tries to follow and have the Bible in their own language. Oh, how bad! Because if they actually have the Bible in their own language, they will expose us, right? Yeah, they will. And they did, and we need to stand up for the truth. And, just they knew where to point in regards to false doctrines. Rome, all roads leads to Rome. The whore riding the beast. Anyway, so as I see it, I think that's pretty solid. At least a lot of people have believed that throughout history, and you can just read books in regards of how this system is strengthened by the blood of the saints, who keeps the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. So anyway. And not fall down in front of idols and venerate the Eucharist, the host, whatever. Yeah, it's just... Anyway, let's see. Let's go on. Snake Dragon, Lucifer Lion. Okay, you're joking. Things change big time, but you find yourself in the midst of a worldwide battle going on. And we pretty much talked about that. I should probably go on before getting on to another trail. But it is absolutely a worldwide battle. And, when you begin to study the Bible and all that, Satan will come and try to confuse you and try to keep you away from getting to the truth. He will come and, for example, when I found out in regards to the Sabbath, well, then people will say, we don't really know which the day, the seventh day, is, and so forth. And then you need to use time and finding out, we know which day is the seventh day, and it's not Sundays. Sunday is the first day of the week. And we can see historical sources in regards of what naming of different countries of the seventh day, what they named it, and so forth. So we absolutely know what the seventh day is. There's so many pointers in regards to that. So, but then of course, when you then are certain that we know which day it is, then other comes in regards of, it doesn't really matter which day we keep and so forth. Just as long as we just keep one day of the week and so forth. Well, and then they of course go to Paul. But no, let's see. Which day was the day that God rested and made holy and sanctified and set apart from the rest of the day? Ooh, that's the Sabbath in the beginning of the creation. Has that changed? No, it's still the same day that is blessed and sanctified. It's a blessing that we apparently shoot over in some sense or pass over because we are doing everything else because we don't know it's actually the Sabbath. As I see it, the Sabbath is the best day to research the scriptures. It's just something on the Sabbath when you read the scriptures. That's my view on it anyway. It seems like, you get some gold nuggets and so forth here and there. Oh, I had this last gold nugget I got. I think I should probably write these things down and all that. It'll probably come forth again at some point. But I got another gold nugget where I was like, oh. But anyway, so let's say, so it's absolutely a good day. So when did it change? And of course, we know that people were persecuted for keeping the Sabbath down through history. They were persecuted for not eating swine flesh, which is unclean according to the Bible. They were persecuted because they wanted to keep the feast in regards of what the Bible says and so forth. And we may not have all the history because it seems like Satan has systematically destroyed information, that could, show that people were doing these things, and maybe in regards of Paul not being as, but it seems like that information has been removed from history. Think about Asia, for example, nowadays Turkey. They must have had so much information from that area. And again, it seems like systematically removing information here and there and so forth. But that is not to say that we cannot pick up pieces and so forth and reconstruct. Like, for example, what did the Nazarenes actually believe? Well, I think we can pretty much reconstruct that. And I think, they were sellers for the Torah. We also are told that in the book of Acts. So looking at outside sources and looking on the book of Acts, which is in the New Testament, what was it saying something in regards to recording? Maybe it's getting low on gigabytes or something like that. I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Anyway, the message was very quickly. But anyway, so they were zealous for the Torah, on fire for the Torah as the master. Their master also kept the Torah. They believed in the virgin birth, as I understand it. It was the Ebionites, which, as I see it, seems to be a group that came out from the Nazarenes. So they still had a lot of the things in regard. There's still, it's like a Christian group where you have one Christian group coming out from another group, and they will still have a lot of the things in common with the other group, but they will have some doctrines that they don't agree with and so forth. And as I understand it, the Ebionites didn't believe that Jesus was born by, or conceived by a Holy Spirit, that actually Joseph was the father, and that he wasn't God in the flesh. And what more? Yeah, that's pretty much, that was something else. But in any case, the Nazarenes apparently believed the same things as the Gentile Christians, except they kept the law. They thought that we should still keep the law. So, I think the Ebionites as well continued mostly keeping the law of Moses and so forth. But anyway, but they didn't believe that Jesus was, conceived by the Holy Spirit and so forth. So we have these two groups, main groups in regards to Judaism. We probably also have the Gnostics and as well, but the Gnostics are just a group that is just, we don't even need, it's this mystical thing, is satanic, It's taking a theme from the Bible and mixing it up with Satanism, and it's just Satan is really good at leading us astray and all that. So anyway, so let's see here. Let's continue. Did Jesus also not say that the good seeds would grow up with the bad seeds until the harvest, which is yet future? Expect wolves in sheep clothing and be alert. Yep. Great. Of course, we should expect that, and we should expect it today as well. And it seems like it will only grow in regards of deceivers out there coming with their many versions of Jesus this and Jesus that and Jesus whatever. Anyway, some of these entities, or better known as demons, can seem amazingly this is by my experiences anyway, and also in regards of what. Oh yeah, okay, it's just in regards of the battery, charging and recording may, lower the battery charge and so forth. Anyway, some of these entities are better known as demons can seem amazingly intelligent and master the craft of deception, bar none, and disguises themselves in different ways. Now, that's not to say that there may not be a lot of stupid demons out there, but by my experience of contact that I've had with them, some of these beings are apparently very, very intelligent, or seems to be very, very intelligent, and they are mastering the craft of deception. Now, you can read about stories from other people as well, and you can get an idea, that these people, these entities are not stupid. They come in many disguises and deceives us. In so many ways. For example, a so-called dead person, when you die, and this so-called person comes up and talks to you or contacts you, demon, or that trying to get people believe in these weird things and get them astray from the Bible, or in regards of spirit guides or ascended masters or whatever, they come in, or aliens, extraterrestrial alien life forms from other places and so forth. These, the demons comes in many disguises, and you just have to be aware of it. And again, it seems, for my experience and the things that I read about it, these demons can be very, 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 very clever. So we have to be aware that we have an enemy that is not stupid, and we shouldn't. That's the thing I think in regards to Christians, that we don't take Satan seriously. We just nothing I do can hurt me anymore. Well, I wouldn't do yoga. If you are Christian and doing yoga is Hinduism. Don't do it. But our discernment, we have just lost it totally, I can do whatever, as long as I believe in Jesus, I can do whatever. I wouldn't do it. You're opening doors for Satan, and we shouldn't go in that direction. We should go in the other direction. And when God says that we shouldn't actually, seek after these familiar spirits or seek after people with familiar spirits, maybe he's... maybe has a reason for that, Maybe we shouldn't do it just because God says it, Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it because God says it, And if God says it, maybe it's a good idea not to do, right? No, apparently not. We just need to believe in Jesus, and we can do whatever. You can bow down before images and venerate the cookie Jesus and whatever, and kiss the idols and the images. Give me a break. No, you cannot. Of course you cannot. Because if you are bowing down before an idol, whatever the idol is to portray, it doesn't matter if it's an idol or a tree or a so-called man hanging on a cross or whatever it is, you are committing adultery against God. So, anyway. Or if you worship the sun or the moon or the stars or the earth, anyway. You're worshipping the creator and not you're worshipping the creation instead of the creator who created creation. You need to worship the creator, not the creation that the creator created. Okay? Anyway. So let's try to go back. Okay, some of these entities, or better known as demons, can seem amazingly intelligent and master the craft of deception bar none, and disguises themselves in different ways. It can be very hard to get out of it if you have experienced some of their slimy poison, like in regards of big religious experiences and visions and whatever. And yeah, I would advise anyone to not try to get in contact with such things. You're opening doors you may have a very difficult time closing again. What did Jesus say to the guy that was it the blind guy? Go and sin no more, so nothing worse should happen to you. Maybe Jesus knew what he was talking about. Maybe we should actually stand against these things, Anyway. Let's see, okay, get a Bible and read. So this is my suggestion anyway. Get a Bible and read, and my advice would be to skip the letters of Paulus. Yeah, or Shaul. I would skip the letters of Paulus. That is what I actually did, because something seemed wrong. So I just, after the book of Acts, I skipped all his letters. And again, when you see lawlessness, it always goes back to Paul. It's like, yeah, but Paulus says, I've heard that so many times, when people are like, I can nearly catch people saying it, when, you get so used to it. So it's like, the last time, I was talking to someone, I was like, but Paulus says, and I was like, yeah, that was what I was going to say, Yeah, I know. I've heard that so many times, Anyway, yeah. And the letters of Paulus, and skip the letters of Paulus and read around him the rest of the books found in the collection of books, the Bible. That's the thing, we have, that's the thing. There's so many other books in the Bible, and the scriptures are about Jesus, right? Didn't Jesus says, well, the scriptures about me, or Moses wrote about me, but you're studying the scriptures and you're not coming to me that they're actually writing about, And if you're not coming to me, if you're not coming to Jesus, you will not have life, So you can read the scriptures now and now and until the end, and the scriptures themselves will not give you life. It is the Son that giveth life to us. So, but that is not to say the law is abolished or bad or evil or so forth. The law is good. Read Psalm 119. If you have a problem with the law of God, read Psalm 119. Just read it over and over and over again. It's the longest psalm in the book of Psalms. It's the wonderful psalm about how good the law of God is and so forth. So anyway. So, but of course, when Christians are saying, well, that's the Old Testament, well, actually, it's the Torah and the prophets. The Torah and the prophets. The Torah and the prophets. If I remember correctly, nearly every time Jesus is, referring back, it's talking about the Torah and the prophets. Or the law, or the prophets. Many times it's translated as law, but the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses. So the Torah and the prophets. That is what is called in the New Testament. It is never called the Old Testament. Maybe you can in regards of Old Saxon. I'm not sure about that, but it's never called the Old Testament and so forth. And they're reading the scriptures. The scriptures was the so-called Old Testament. Anyway, and of course I have some issues in regards to the book of Esther, but apparently I'm not. I looked at in regards to the Jewish sages had issues in regards of actually adding the book of Esther, and it seems like the Qumran in regards to the Dead Sea Scrolls didn't have the book of Esther and didn't keep the festival of Purim either. So they had an issue with that as well. I'm not sure if they actually kept Hanukkah. I've tried to write the professor that has done a lot of research in regards to these things, but I haven't actually, she hasn't actually replied. So, but anyway, she probably have a lot of other things to do. You get so many mails and spam and so forth, and from every kind of merchandise. Satan. Every time we have something good, Satan has a way of just destroying it, right? You have the mails, and you're not. Most of the mails are just spam and commercials and trickery and so forth. Because people are not keeping the commandments of God. Because if they kept the commandments of God, they wouldn't try to trick your neighbor, or try to deceive them and try to lie to them and so forth. That's anyway. But again, we need the Bible. We are really privileged here in the West that we have had so much truth, because many places in the world they haven't had the truth that we have. And we have been blessed in having so much as we have here in the West. Maybe God had something to do in regards of blessing us, so we had food on our table and a roof over our head and so forth. And now we're just we don't like we don't want we don't care about God anymore. It's like, what? It's like the Northern Kingdom in Israel. Or Ephraim, I think it also called Ephraim. The Northern Kingdom of Israel had everything, but they missed the most important thing. They had left God. And God punished them with the Assyrians. Of course, you need to know a little of the Bible to know these stories. But it's the same. It seems like it could be the same thing in regards of we have everything, but we have lost the most important thing. So... And we see more and more people leaving. Now in Denmark, of course, it's said to be one of the least believing countries in the world, apparently. And it is true that we have, the norm is believing atheism and believing in evolution, paganistic evolution. And I was one of them. So it is, we have a lot of issues. We need to stand for some light, because I'm sure that it's not only me that wants some truth in this wicked, deceptive world that, Anyway, so, let's see. And you see a lot of the churches or congregations now, coming back to Rome. Because Rome are just, there's not that much difference between us, and there's a huge amount of difference between you and us. You worship or venerate this host, this Eucharist, where you bow down before images, which is idolatry, which is absolutely disgusting. And I actually also think you actually defile yourself when you eat this Eucharist. I could be wrong, but it seems to be sanctified to a false god. Most likely the sun, so-called sun god. You have the venerated day of the sun. It seems to go back to sun worship, everything of these things. So, sun worship, which is not the sun, it's the sun on the sky and all that. It's paganism. And they've just put a facade of Christianizing it, like Christ Mass, going back to the Mass. The Easter, going back to to a goddess, as I understand it, pagan goddess, and all these Halloween, the birthday of Satan, and all so forth. You have and the Roman sun calendar, the Julian, Gregorian, pagan, satanic Roman calendar. It's not the calendar of the Bible. The New Year, the pagan New Year of Janus and whatever. That's not in the Bible, okay? It's not one of the feast days of God, and God's New Year starts in the spring. Spring! Spring! When everything becomes new, the year starts according to the Bible, okay? It's not in the winter, and it's not in the fall, as of course the Jews have so many issues as well. Many man-made traditions, a heavy yoke put on the people, having left Jesus as the Messiah. So, but of course they keep the New Year in the fall, which is wrong. But you don't understand. Oh yeah, I understand. I understand what God wrote in his Bible, or wrote in His Word. What is in the Word, in the Torah? It says His New Year, God's New Year, is in the spring. Okay? And in regards of Passover and all that, you calculate Passover according to the first month and so forth. You have the 10 Aviv, this is the first moon. And also that's in regards of, the month is following the moon, So you can just look up in the moon and you can see, oh, we are here and there in the month, moon, month. Anyway, so it makes sense in regards to the moon. But of course in the Roman calendar it doesn't make sense at all. Anyway, so you have the first moon, and after the first moon you have the 10 where you pick the Passover, the lamb or the goat, and then you have it for 4 days and you slay it on the 14 and you eat it on the 15 after sunset. After sunset, and you have the 15, you eat it with the first day of unleavened bread, and then you have 7 days of unleavened bread, and you have after the Sabbath, which is the 7th day of the week, you have first fruit. Just after that you count 49. Or 7 Sabbaths. Then you have the feast of Shavuot, which is the feast of weeks. These are the feast days of God in the spring. But no one are guarding these things, because now you are Judaizer and a legalist. Well, this is actually the festivals that God told us to keep. But you're telling me it's okay to keep the pagan traditions, but it's not okay to keep what God says. I don't know. Sometimes the mind has just blown out of people, I think. So you think God would be angry for leaving the pagan traditions and actually doing what He told us to do in regards of his festivals? You think you will lose salvation if we actually stop doing the pagan stuff and actually begin to do the things that God told us to do? You think you will lose salvation now, or that lost grace and so forth? I think it's insanity. I think people have totally lost their mind, and one of the reasons is Paul, or Paulus, or Shaul. And there's some interesting stories in regards to that if you research and pick some pointers here and there and all that. But anyway, I think it's a nutcase world in some sense. You get into a nutcase world where where reading doesn't become reading in some sense, where it becomes more like an interpretation thing for where people have been instructed to know what they need to know about something, and then they are retelling the things that they have been told instead of reading the Bible for themselves and being careful about Paul Anyway, so we have, that was the spring feast, and again it takes a little time to research these things and all, but I'm getting there in some sense, and then of course it hopefully will be easier for others to actually instead of easier for them to actually pick it up. Then we have the fall feast as well. We don't have any feast in the summer as such. We have the fall feast, and the fall feast are in the 7th month, and the 7th month is actually where the Jews are keeping the New Year, which is wrong. So the Day of Trumpets in the 7th moon, that's the 7, the beginning of the 7th moon, the first day is Day of Trumpets. Now the Day of Trumpets is the day where the Jews think it's the New Year, which is wrong. And when you talk to them, they will just try to either, say, well, we have 4 New Years and so forth, blah, 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 blah. It's like talking with Christians about Sunday and the Sabbath, the first day of the week, or the Sabbath, It's horrible. It's just horrible. But anyway, either they will try to defend their position with weird arguments that doesn't hold water, or they will run away when you point them to the Bible and God says this, first day, first month, 7 months, so forth. It's so clear. It's everywhere in the scriptures. Just read it. Read it for yourself. You shouldn't trust anyone. Just read it. It's there. Anyway, so on the 7th moon, on the first day is the Day of Trumpets. That's where you blow a horn or a shofar which is believed that to be a main shofar is the ram horn. That's at least there's different horns being used today, but ram's horn is said to be the what do you call it, the standard, what do you call it, but anyway, other people use different other things and all that. But anyway, it's blowing off the horns. So you blow the horns at the Day of Trumpets. It doesn't, if you don't have a horn in regards of a horn like this, or if you just have a trumpet or whatever, just Day of Trumpets or shouting, just do the best that you can, right? Shout or or have a trumpet or whatever, or ram's horn, whatever. Just do the best that you can on that day. So that's the Day of Trumpets, the day that no one knows which day is, because it's the beginning of the month, and there's some rules in regards to that, because the moon needs to be seen, and if it can either be 29 days or 30 days in regards of a month. Now, of course, it doesn't vary as much as the Roman Gregorian calendar, but so that's also nice. Anyway, but it's a day that can either be one day or another day. So it's a day that can no one knows. I think Jesus is referring to that actually, But anyway, so we have this first day, and then you have 10 days in total, and the last day of these 10 days are Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. And there's still a lot for me to research, but as I understand it, you afflict yourself in some sense. It's a day of sorrow, day of repentance maybe. I still need to research that according to the Bible. Then of course, after this festival, and this festival has 2 set apart days, it's the 2 Sabbaths. The first day, the Day of Trumpets, is a high Sabbath. And the last day is the day of Atonement, is also a high Sabbath, if I remember correctly. Okay, and you also have high Sabbaths in the spring as well. The 15 would be a high Sabbath. That's one of them. I think you have one more in regards of it. I can't remember which day, but at least you have Yom Shavuot. And then you have, I think you have 7 in total anyway. I have to look into that. I can't remember everything, and sometimes, you get some information and some other information goes out. But, it's really hard when you have been trained in all these paganistic things. It's horrible. And the shepherds just keep on promoting these lies and even take more pagan doctrines in. So anyway, then you have the festival of Sukkot. And the festival of Sukkot is where you make a sukkah, something to, you can be in. And you are to be outside 7 days, I think 7 nights in the sukkah. Under the sky and so forth. You are to make a sukkah and to be under it 7 days. And on the 8th day, the last great day is the last great day. And I think that's actually one of the Sabbaths as well. And the first day of the Sukkot, I think, is a Sabbath as well. A high Sabbath. So you not only have the Sabbaths of the weekly Sabbath, you also have the festival Sabbaths. So anyway, that's pretty much the last great day is the last festival that God has appointed for us to keep. And as I see it, it's all about Jesus, Passover lamb, being slain, unleavened breads. Maybe it's in regards of having no sin. And we have first fruit and 49 to, there's different things in the things. In regards of Yom Teruah or Day of Trumpets could be in regards of Jesus' return. It seems like it could absolutely be that. But again, it's still something I research and it's something to do. I need to become a lot better to actually keeping these things. And if I ever have children, it will be easily passed on to them, so they grow up with, so they don't grow up with pagan traditions, but that they grow up with the truth. Not about the Easter rabbit or the tooth fairy or gnomes or or Satan clause or anything like that. Not lying to your children in that regard, and in these things, that's just horrible. And we just keep on doing because it's traditions inherited from our fathers. Vain traditions inherited from our fathers. Anyway, so let's go on. Let's see. Get a Bible and read, and my advice would be to skip the letters of Paulus and read around him the rest of the books found in the collection of books, the Bible. So, the Bible is a collection of books, They didn't have a Bible beforehand. They had scrolls with different books in the scrolls. So you took a scroll and you could read it and, so forth. Anyway, so they didn't have one big scroll, as I understand it. Now, actually, they have today, right? They actually have huge scrolls where they have the whole old, so-called Old Testament now. But as I understand it, it was, scrolls and, maybe there also has been some huge collection. I don't know. But beforehand. But as I understand it, it's like they had scrolls. That's also what the researcher says, that they didn't have a complete book as such. They had like scrolls, So not one single scrolls, but many scrolls. And anyway, so these are books, a collection of books. Okay, so if you have such a problem with believers around, that's because she was talking about, she lives in an area, I think she lives in the US or something like that, and she apparently lives in an area where everybody believes in a God, whatever God that is, but apparently they believe in God. There are not many atheists in her area and so forth. So anyway, so I told her, if you have such a problem with believers around you, just come to Denmark. It is filled with believing atheists and evolutionists who wants nothing to do with the subject of God and the creator and lawgiver of the laws of nature. Now in regards to the law, this is because he talks about some scientific laws and so forth. And the question is, who gave the law in the first place? Now, of course, by science, science itself is not against God. Just evolution is not science, it's a theory. So anyway, so that's the thing, you have science, and science just can, we can see, for example, these laws and we can test them by different ways and so forth. We can make a formula, what do you call it? We can hear about something, an idea and so forth, and then we go into the laboratory and test if we get the same results as we would expect according to the theory. And by checking in the laboratory that this is actually so, we have in some sense proven the theory to be correct, right? So I remember doing that on the D2 and so forth. I think I have deleted most of my reports, but we needed to make a report with all those things and all that. First we got the theory or the idea of the things, and then we went to the laboratory and tried to check if this was actually so and so forth. So again, but these things, when you find out there, there's some laws in the creation, well, that doesn't really take away from God, because God is the one making the laws in the first place, He made all the design around us, that's the complexity, the program codes, in regards of DNA and all that. Who programmed the codes that we see all around us in creation? Well, there has to be a programmer, right? Well, at least if you have a computer game on the computer, you don't, even if you haven't seen the program and you're not, the program just made itself, just came out of nowhere. Well, it's just exploded and then, here it is on the screen, No, there's a program on it. Probably also someone that made the graphic and the music and so forth. And so, so the same thing in regards of making us. When you have is a lack of better word, we have all this technology in our body. I know technology is, I've been rebuked of using the word technology. Maybe it should be biologic or something like that. Biotechnology? I don't know. But anyway, bionology, big technology, bionology. Maybe it's bionology. We have so much bionology in our body. It's very complex and designed. And so think about how many things the liver is doing and the kidneys are doing, and the trash thing, the where the food goes, and all these things are being done, and the blood cells and the immune system, and the lungs and so forth. All these things are happening, and if we get hurt, for example, if I get sliced or whatever, it takes some time, but it will heal automatically. It does it of itself. Self-healing body. Of course, we are living in a fallen world, and we are not living over 900 years anymore, because it seems like the circumstances, or the what do you call it? I can't remember the word. Oh, come on. The word for, the environment. Yeah, that's at least one word you can use. The environment is not the same as it was before the flood. Everything has been going downhill since since our ancestor got kicked out of the garden. And from there on, it's pretty much gone downhill. Adam reached to 930 years, I think. That's still a pretty good age compared to nowadays. And Noah was the last person that we have recorded in the Bible that actually got to 900 years. And he may actually have been the last person to actually get over 900 years. Because, he was in the environment of before the flood. So he would have, his body would probably have have some good condition in regards to that. And then after the flood, these conditions are going downhill, and you see people also in regards of the age going downhill. Shem, which is the son of Noah, only got to 600 years. So, and it seems like the environment has been was a lot better before. Looking at the fossils that we see, how huge some of the animals and trees and vegetation could be, and so forth. And now today that all the insects as well getting huge sizes compared to today. And as I understand it, that some of those sizes of insects couldn't survive today in our environment. Even if we could revive the insect in that size, it couldn't survive in the environment that we now have. It would die of oxygen lack. It would die of lack of oxygen. So, and the same thing in regards of some of the dinosaurs are said to, even if we could revive some of them, they couldn't survive under these conditions because of lack of oxygen. So, but anyway, of course, maybe there could be some biologically, or what you could technology, biology. Maybe there's some biology in those dragons or dinosaurs that we don't know anything. Maybe there's some design that could actually make them live anyway. I don't know, but at least in regards to the insects, there's this mathematically formal, where you have the surface area compared to the size of the animal, or the mass of the animal, and the larger the animal becomes, the less surface area there is, compared to the what was it called, compared to the mass. So it's they couldn't survive in regards of the oxygen that we now have today, because they couldn't get all the oxygen they needed according to some use. And I think that would probably be true. And in regards of insects, we have insects today, so, and all that. We probably also have still some dragons alive somewhere. We haven't investigated everything, and we don't know everything, and so forth. And so anyway, but in any case, we have insects that we, for example, can compare in regards of and then scale it up and see, we have a problem. that animal wouldn't be able to survive. Even if it could get that size today. Or even if it could revive it in that size, or even if we could make it by making a closed environment, and maybe making one of these insects. Apparently, it has a way of stopping the video because of the size of the file. It's very annoying that it actually does that. It's that's the thing in regards of mobiles as well. They should just do things, and then those that create these things and the software are making things that so you actually cannot just use it as you want, even if it should be able to do it anyway, and it is. I know it can be done, but apparently these people made the software not so it can only record, and then I need to copy paste these things into a program on the computer. Then it takes hours and hours and hours to actually chop them into together, and you probably also lose some some quality as well by doing that. That's just horrible. I did that. I needed a program yesterday to do that. But anyway, okay, so let's just finish this. If you have such a problem with believers around you, just come to Denmark. It is filled with believing atheists and evolutionists who wants nothing to do with the subject of God and the creator and lawgiver of the laws of nature. And actually, I read that. But that's pretty much it. It's pretty much done. So I hope she comes back to God. She also talks about trying some of these witchcraft things, and I'm like, why would she ever try to do these witchcraft things? Yeah, she has some books of the witchcraft things. I'm like, why would she ever, book of spirit communion? Why would you ever try to get in contact with demons? It's the stupidest things one can do is to try to get in contact with these demons, and it's actually not very hard to actually do. So, but don't do it. Now, of course, she apparently didn't succeed. She told me about, she didn't apparently succeed and it didn't work for her and so forth. Maybe just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean that it doesn't work for others, okay? And just don't do it. But why would anyone? So let's see. She has a book here like there's a lot of witchcraft things, and here we have another witchcraft book. Let's see. That was like the Demonologist. Yeah, that sounds like a good book. No. And then we have like the Practical Candle Burns Ritual. Sounds like a bad idea. Yeah, sounds very bad idea. Advanced Candle Magic, bad idea. Again, we are into witchcraft now. It's witchcraft. We shouldn't we shouldn't do all these witchcraft things. Anyway, I should probably not even show these things, It's horrible. The Book of Spirit Communion.
And
no.
Richard Buckland was probably the thing that I paid the most attention to.
Attention to? Yeah. But apparently it didn't work for her, these things, and so she became an atheist. But then again, just because it didn't work for her, and she may actually have opened door that's have actually opened door that she didn't realize or never actually, so just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean you haven't opened a door to something you shouldn't open a door to. So that leads you more in the direction away from God. So I'm not sure I actually should have shown these last the back. The books is horrible. It's just so horrible, I had a lot of occult books as well and all that, and pretty much threw them out. It was a lot of money. Yeah, I just used a lot of money on these silly things and these disgusting things, and just out with it. Sadly, some of the stuff I had I gave away. I should never have given it away. I should, like for example, the magic cards. I should just have destroyed all the magic cards. Just to burn them. I had a computer game I should have burned as well. So I gave the magic card away to someone. I gave the computer games, like, huge amount of, yeah. It was a most expensive games I ever bought. It was one of these spiritual games and so forth. And sadly, I should have pretty much destroyed it, everything, but I sadly gave it away. Um, yeah, it's a little, it bugs me a little that I just gave it away, and that's just so bad. Um, but most of the books are pretty much destroyed. Why would I have anything to do with all these things? Chakras and yoga and satanic meditation and so forth. Meditation is that's the other thing in regards to the so-called New Age. They will say that, oh yeah, in regards to meditation, we meditate and all that. Yeah, well, and meditation is found in the Bible. Yeah, meditation is found in the Bible, but meditation in the Bible is not just emptying your mind. It is chewing on God's word. It is thinking, meditating on God's word. It is not emptying your mind and getting these experiences and whatever. No, it's meditating on God's word. That's pretty much meditation. So yeah, the word meditation is in the Bible, but that is not to say it's the same thing as you do in regards of, just because you call it the same thing, that's the same thing in regards of Jesus. Just because you call him Jesus, it's not, it doesn't mean that it's actually Jesus found in the Bible. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, we have a lot of witches today as well, and I think one of the reasons for that is actually in regards of um, is in regards of Harry Potter books, for example. Now, it's not only the Harry Potter books. There has been other witchcraft series out there, and of course, when you are young and you see all these things and you're getting these things into your mind, hey, I want to become like Harry Potter, or I want to become like want to become like these witches, these women witches. Yeah. Why would you ever look on these things? It's bad. It's very bad. And as parents, we should instruct our children and teach them the law of God, so we set them in the right direction, not just throw them into Satan's candy store and tell them, oh, you'll just find out for yourself. We are the people that actually, we have the experience in the world, and we should guide our children in the right direction. And if we are guiding them into Satan's candy store, that's just horrible. That is not very loving in regards to our children. We should help them to try to stir them away from Satan's candy store, and keep outside the store. Now, if they later on goes into the store of Satan because they're rebellious or whatever, at least we tried the best that we could to instruct them in the way. And maybe even if they go into Satan's candy store, knowing what they know, if they had good parents educating in these things, don't expect the state to educate our children in the truth in regards to these things. But so if you have given them taught them in the law of God and all that, even if they go into the store of Satan, they may actually end up coming out again and taking it a lot more seriously, because a lot of Christians doesn't take it seriously in regards of Satan and the occult and so forth and all that. But when you have first-hand experience with some of these things, you become a lot more seriously engaged in these things. And we have one of the Christian shepherds out there. I'm not sure if but anyway, he has made a lot of it, and he was also in the New Age. And when he talks and all that, I can just, I can, when he talks about something, I can, what do you call it? I can relate to it, and he just takes it more seriously when you have these experiences. So and now today the churches are taking yoga inside. They are feeding people with food sacrificed to a false god, which defiles people. Halal meat. They're serving, food sacrificed to false gods, to people. They are, we're just, we're eating everything and anything. We don't care about, the laws of God that told us that swine flesh is unclean. Oh, you're a Judaizer. Well, you shouldn't eat anything that has been sacrificed to a false god. Oh, you are a Judaizer. Paul says this. Paul says that. Whatever. If you are at the the meat market, don't ask. Just buy it for conscience sake and just eat it. That's not what the council in Jerusalem says in regards of eating food sacrificed to false gods. And we have outside sources also talking about why we're not to eat food sacrificed to idols. In the book of Acts, we're just told that, we have 3 times where it's told that we shouldn't eat food sacrificed to false gods. And I think that would include sanctified things as well, like the Eucharist host thing, whatever, which seems to be witchcraft, where they apparently make this cookie Jesus into Jesus. What are you lost your mind? Totally lost your mind. Anyway, and they're allowed to venerate the cookie Jesus. That's idolatry against God. No-go, absolutely no-go. But anyway, then you, of course, just take one of the 10 commandments out of the 10 commandments and Anyway, let's see. So, what was it? I think I lost the subject. But we should just be careful. We should be very careful. The world is pretty much, it's just going the wrong way. We don't believe in Jesus anymore. We don't believe in the Bible anymore. We don't believe in the history in the Bibles. Even if they're digging history out of the ground all the time in Israel, it's nearly every single day there's something new that points to the Bible is true. It's just, it's just, those that goes out and dig, take a Bible in one hand and a spade in the other hand, or what it's called, They use the Bible to find out, oh, here should be something here. Okay, we'll dig here. And then they find it, verifying that the Bible is indeed true. At least in regards of a lot of things. You cannot deny everything that is in the Bible, And, telling that, the first king and the second king stories, you can't take it seriously and nobody. Are you a shepherd? That must be a wolf in sheep clothing or something like that. Oh, you believe in evolution? Okay, that sounds like a wolf in sheep clothing. Oh, you believe Sunday can be defended in regards of or against Saturday, which is actually the last day of the week. Oh, sounds like a wolf in sheep clothing, right? Doesn't it? How many other commands do you want me to break of God's law? You want me to go out and murder or lie and deceive and whore with my neighbor's wife, or, bow down before idols? Or, how many of the commandments of God do you want me to break? Huh? You people, you need to read the Bible for yourself. No one is going to do it for you. No one is going to do it for you. And now in these days, you have the ability to actually read the Bible for yourself. Beforehand, people were slain, because of the whore on the beast that, loves, drunken by the blood of the saints. And she is killed and murdered and murdered and murdered over and over and over and over again. The true believers that wanted to go in the right direction, not saying they were perfect or anything like that. But they had the they wanted to go in the right direction. They wanted to come closer to the commandments of God, to guard the commandments of God and read the scriptures for themselves. Because the whore didn't want you to actually read the scriptures, because the whore had, first thing, she is a whore. The second thing is she has so many false doctrines, and if you actually read the Bible for yourself, you would find out that she's lying, she's deceiving, and she's leading people astray. And you would probably know where to point in regards of where the whore is. All roads leads to Rome. The Jesuits, the Black Pope, all these abominations, bowing down before idols, Mary worship, or the so-called Queen of Heaven. And, instead of going to Jesus, then go to Mary, because Mary is just much more sweeter, and she's the mother of Jesus. So it's much easier to go to Mary than Jesus. What abomination? What other abomination? You go to Jesus and Jesus only. You go to God. You don't go to Mary, and she's not, as I understand it, she's not in heaven. And she's not, and the thing is, in regards of Mary, they see her as a perfect, have this doctrine of her being perfect. And also, by the way, she's not a virgin, She had, she was known by Joseph after Jesus was born. It's in the Bible. So it's all these pagan doctrines that has been, mixed together with Christianity. The same thing in regards to when Jesus was executed. Many people believe that Jesus was executed on a Friday. Oh, really? A Friday. Okay, a Friday. So let's see, when was the grave found empty? Well, around the morning of Sunday, right? Okay. So let's see, how many days are from Friday? Around 3 or 5 o'clock or something like that, maybe 6 o'clock, until Sunday, the first day of the week. And that's one of the reasons why people believe it's the Friday, because the Sabbath is just ahead. So it's just before the Sabbath. They use that argument that now they know when the Sabbath is, the weekly Sabbath apparently. So they believe that, well, it has to be a Friday. What they don't know, because they don't read the Torah and the law of God, or the so-called Old Testament, is that there are high days, and this was a high day, and the high day is the 15th, which is a Sabbath that can lay on any day of the week. But of course, if we don't keep the customs of God, or the festivals of God, or the appointed times of God, we wouldn't know, would we? Because we're not keeping it according to the Bible. We're keeping it according to a so-called Passover. It's actually Easter, but we're keeping it according to some pagan calendar instead of actually following the instructions of the Bible. If we actually follow the instructions of the Bible, we would actually know that it could actually lay on different days, and thereby it doesn't need to be a Friday just because there's a Sabbath the next day, because it doesn't need to be the weekly Sabbath. There's a high Sabbath. There's one of these 7 yearly Sabbaths that is in the year that can lay on any day. It depends on the moon and in regards of when the moon is seen and so forth. You count from the first day of the moon, you count to the 14, and you slay the lamb on the 14, and then you have the high day on the 15, where you are eating the lamb and you're having the first day of unleavened bread and so forth. So, what was it? Yeah, so if we actually kept these, maybe traditions is a bad word, but keeping those customs maybe also a bad word, but the appointed times of Yehovah, our God, not the Jewish festivals, but Yehovah's festivals, Yehovah's calendar, Yehovah's way of thinking in regards of when the year begins, when it ends, when the day starts, when it ends, when the festival starts, when they end, and so forth. If we actually kept those things, maybe we would actually know that it doesn't need to be actually a Friday. And anyway, so we have Friday to Sunday, right? Do you get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday around, let's just say 3 to 6 around there? I have the thing over here this way, where I actually have, my calculations and all that. It's a long time since I did it, but I still have the thing up and all that. But the thing is, you don't get 3 days and 3 nights until Sunday morning. If you are really, really, really nice, you can, and you just take a little of a day as a full day, you still only get 2 nights. But I don't think you even get to 3 days. But anyway, so okay, but let's say you could defend that, because many say, well, it's the Jewish way of thinking. Yeah, well, I have 2 witnesses, at least 2 witnesses. I asked the Jew, or so-called rabbi, and I've seen all other information as well, and I pretty much most likely have other, but I can't remember. But I have at least 2 sources I can remember in regards to this. No, 3 days and 3 nights are literally 3 days and 3 nights. So either you made Jesus a liar, I think, or maybe it's not the right day. And again, we have all that Sunday thing. You have at Christmas, you have the first Sunday, second Sunday, third Sunday, and fourth Sunday, Advent thing, whatever. Where do we find that in the Bible? Nowhere. Anyway, okay. So, let's just say you can defend these 3 days and 3 nights. Oh, yeah. Let's try to go the other direction, right? Let's try to go backward. So, we know from the Torah that the 10 is the day that the Lamb comes into Jerusalem. So that's the day that Jesus is riding on a donkey into Jerusalem, okay? So he's riding on the 10th of Aviv, the first month, into Jerusalem. Now he's going to be inspected for 4 days, okay? 4 days. So the 10th, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, apparently my fingers, let's see. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so we have these. So we take from Sunday, which is the day, is the Palm Day. Let's see. Sunday is said to be the day of Palm Day where Jesus is riding into Jerusalem, right? So Sunday is the 10th. That's the day that the lamb or the goat is chosen. The perfect spotless lamb is chosen and taken into Jerusalem, okay? Then we have 11, that's Monday. 12, that would be Tuesday, and then we have 4th day, that was Wednesday, and then we have Thursday. All our days are pretty much gone. So we're talking 1, 2, 10, 11. Try to write it down. It's much easier when you actually write it down. But you're only getting through Thursday. So what is the problem? Well, because we're saying that he was executed on a Friday, but if we are actually counting from the Palm Sunday forward from Palm Sunday, which we know would be on the 10th, according to the Torah, and we know that the lamb is slain on the 14th, which would then be a Thursday, it's not a Friday. Now, if we try to get it from the Friday and count backwards, then we get to Monday, it must be. And then, of course, we have a problem in regards, because Jesus is traveling like nearly 26 kilometers on a Sabbath then, because he's have some traveling and all that. So that's a little, would Jesus travel 26 kilometers on a Sabbath? Usually his custom was to walk into the synagogues, right? So I'm not sure about that in regards of walking 26 kilometers on a Sabbath. It seems a little odd, I think. Anyway, the thing is, it doesn't seem to add up, all these things. Just one error after another. So which day did Jesus actually when did he actually become executed? The best, to my knowledge, the best that I can do, and I may be wrong, but the best that I can do is in the middle of the week, which is Wednesday. So, and Thursday would then be the high Sabbath, and then you have one day which is a normal day, and then you have the weekly Sabbath and so forth. So, and then he would be resurrected either on the Sabbath or the Sunday, but the grave we know was found empty, around that that point either. There's a little variation in some of the writings we have. So, and who knows, but around there. But at least it doesn't seem to work with a Friday. But anyway, so of course the important thing is that he was actually dead and he was resurrected. But I think the closer we can get to the truth, the better, because the less chance there is for Satan to deceive us. So again, if we just kept the Sabbath the Sabbath also as well, and if we also kept then we would get the blessing that God has blessed the day. And that could be very important when we read the scriptures, for example. And of course, our master kept the Sabbath. Even Paul seemed to have kept the Sabbath. But anyway, it's not the most important thing is Jesus. What did Jesus do? And as his custom, it is said in the New Testament, that he went into the synagogue, which is like a meeting place for people on the Sabbath, then they can read the scriptures. For example, we see Jesus reading the scriptures and so forth, and it's a meeting place, a congregation, or meeting place for a congregation, something like that. I have it on Facebook in regards of what it means and so forth. But as I understand it, it's a Greek word coming from the Greek. I'm not sure, but something to study into. But the thing is, that was his custom to go to the synagogue on the Sabbath. Well, maybe we should do something, as well on the Sabbath, right? So anyway, so that's pretty much it. Okay, that's pretty. Yep. This is my apartment, by the way. The painting is from my more occult days in some sense. I was against this, that's the thing when you are in the occult and you are against this, you have the square on top, the triangle on top and all that, which is in regards of Freemasonry is the great architect and so forth. Well, actually, it's pretty easy. They call it many names. It's just Satan, just Satan, a symbol for Satan. So I made at the point when I made a pyramid without a caps or the upper stone on it, because I didn't, on the dollar bill you have the Freemason, which actually goes back to Rome as I understand it, the symbol and all that. So again, Satan is deceiving people. So, and I made this yellow thing around, and it tried to have some natural colors and all that, but again, I haven't really wanted to paint it all over just because it would take some days to paint it and all that. Well, of course, if you just paint one color, it just goes a lot quicker than actually painting in so many colors that are painted. I'm not sure how many, but some of the white, for example, just looks white, right? And this looks white, but actually is a variation. Women would probably be a lot easier to actually observe it than men. But I think this color, is a little yellow. It has a little yellow in it, a white yellow. And this is actually pink, a little pink in it. So then I have three you can actually see one of the other colors of green behind me. Oh, we still have some problems in regards of even, it's not getting power at the moment. Should probably stop at the moment. Anyway, just a suggestion. Read the Bible for yourself. Read the Bible. Just get a Bible and read it. Now I know a lot of the translations are, all the translations seems to be not perfect, but still, it's, for example, many of the translations doesn't have the name of God in them. That's dishonest corruption of from the translator is so-called tradition, and I'm not sure where it comes from, but the Jews have a way of, we are not saying the name of God, and gets offended if you say the name of God, and it's very easy to get banned by a Jewish room. I've been banned many times, or put under the ban from many Jewish forums, because we don't say, and they really get loud and get angry and so forth if you mention the name of God and all that. I've been in Israel as well, where I had my T-shirt where the name of God was on it, and Jesus is God Almighty, Jehovah, and so forth. You get into many interesting talks, and you get also attacked by different people and so forth. But actually, in regards of attacks, I think the Christians was actually the worst in regards of attacking me. Those Christians that didn't believe that Jesus was God. I really got a lot of heat from those. And that's, I met them in, I met a lot, well, maybe not. I met some of them in Jerusalem and all that. It seems like there was many of them that actually believed this doctrine. And then I found it on YouTube as well, of finding these people that promoted this as well. I just, so I tried to send them some information on this, but it's the same in regards of the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Jews or whatever, just denying, it's just, you can show them everything and anything, and yet they will just throw it over the shoulder that Jesus is God. It took me around a year or something like that, reading the New Testament, and actually to actually find out that, oh, Jesus is God. Oh, Jesus is God. Jesus is God. He's God. He's our creator, Jesus is the Word that was God and was with God, and the Word became flesh. But of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses will, quickly try to destroy that, because they have their own dishonest translation of that. Because at least they put the name of God in the Bible version, but they try to write out the divinity of Jesus Christ. That is just dishonest. But anyway, it's just sad. It's very sad too. But it took me around a year of studies to actually realize that Jesus was God in the flesh. And then I found out that the most offending line that I could think of was actually Jesus is God Almighty. And I'm telling you, it offends so many people. So that was, I made a T-shirt, and I went to Israel and all that with that. But I actually put Jehovah as well. So Jesus is God Almighty, Jehovah. So, and I put it on the front and the back. I have the T-shirt. I'm actually not sure if the T-shirt is clean or I've actually used it. Probably have used it. But anyway. So what is the best suggestion I can give you is to study the Bible and know what is in the Bible, and don't try to stretch the Bible, in regards of, you have this idea of evolution and billions of years and all that. Well, maybe the Bible is actually true that the world is only around 6,000 years and not billions of years. So, and think about it, man has a way of corrupting things very, very, very quickly. And it seems like that was also what happened after the flood, that man got corrupted very quickly after the flood. And it's just, think about it, you probably still have, people around that knows the truth and stands for the truth. And yet the people is being led astray in a wrong direction by Satan. Satan is not stupid. That's the thing. I think I've mentioned it before, and we can't take what do you call it? We shouldn't take Satan to we should take him seriously. Think about how many times he's leading people astray. He's leading so many people astray. We should absolutely not take, we should take it seriously. I'm not sure what the word is. I can't find the word in regards of, we shouldn't take it lightly. Oh yeah, we shouldn't take it lightly in regards of Satan. We should take him very, very, very seriously, because his deceptions and lies are really, really, slimy. They are really wicked. They are really slick. And we should be aware of that, and we should stand against when he comes with lies, because he will send his people in regards of lies and deceptions and try to get you off the truth. And it's all the time. It's just annoying. You use so much time getting to some of the conclusions because you're getting attacked by so many places, and people are trying to get you, get you in one direction and another direction. Same thing in regards of some of these cults that are outside here, like the Mormons. The Mormons, oh, here we come with the Mormon, the Book of Mormon. Yeah, I want to read the Bible. No, you just read the Book of Mormon. Why are we not going to talk about the Bible? Oh, because we Book of Mormon. I want to read the Bible. I don't want to read the Book of Mormon. Just or the Seven Adventists, where they give you one book after another. I think I've gotten 1, 2, 3. 4 books, and they tried to give me another book last time, and I was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to read all your stuff and this and that. I want to read what is in the Bible, and I can make up my own conclusions by the word of God, not by some so-called prophet that seems to have supported Paul and all that. Of course, I'm not saying that everything is wrong, and that's the thing. That's the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses, that they have the name correct, But, and of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses will also come by in regards of, oh, yeah, but they don't believe Jesus is God. At least the Seven Adventists believe Jesus is God. So that's at least, they at least are closer to the truth in that regard. And they keep the Sabbath as well, so that's at least also closer to the truth. But I think the Seven Adventists seems to be more like a slick group. The Jehovah's Witnesses is easy spotted, I think, as a fault, as having issues. The Mormons absolutely should be very, very, very easy. I think Mormons would probably be the most easy target for for finding out something is terrible wrong. Then the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seven Adventists, they are really, really, that's a hard group. That's a very, very hard group, and sadly, I had a website where he went into all these weird doctrines that is under the surface, that they is not in the front, that's under the surface and all that. And then of course, if you're going to be baptized in the Seventh Adventist, you are to accept the spirit of prophecy, which is in regards of Ellen G. White. I just want to go with what Jesus says, and again, So, but I think in regards of truth, it's probably the closest organization in some sense, but I will still be very careful. They also try to follow the food laws and so forth, so that's nice as well. But be careful, be very, very careful, because Satan is a master deceiver, and we are warned about wolves in sheep clothing that comes and looks like sheep, but are wolf. So just be aware. Be aware. That's the best suggestion, I think. I'm not saying you couldn't grow in one of these groups and all that. You probably could. You have people being in some of these groups and growing in the scriptures, reading for themselves and finding out, something is wrong here, and it then pushes them out of the group, or they throw them out. For example, if you watch Jehovah's Witnesses and find out Jesus is God, you may actually be kicked out for that. Bad, But is that a bad thing? Well, at least you're not getting killed like the Mohammedans would, for example, if you are in Saudi Arabia and you, as a Mohammedan, find out that Jesus is actually the Son of God and all that, it may actually be a lot worse than actually just being kicked out of the group. It may actually be killed or persecuted in a harder way, So we still have it pretty lightly here in Denmark. When you leave the Christian group, I don't know of any Christian group that would actually kill a person if they actually left. So if you leave, it's well, of course, the Catholics, of course. Oh yeah, that's true. if you didn't accept Catholicism, they would actually kill you. That's true. Yeah, that would or that was a good possibility that the holy or maybe unholy Inquisition would come by, and then you would be sentenced and no, what do you call it? Yeah, all these things, and then you would be murdered. What is it called? You would be yeah, why they do all these. Have you seen the tools they had to do all these things? Oh boy, it's just disgusting. How could that organization, be Christian at all? If you've seen the tool that they use to make people, so-called repent, to torture them. That's the right word. Torture them. The torture tools from that system is just, you couldn't make it up. It's just satanic. It's just deeply satanic. These tools they have like these most, I'm not even sure how they could make these things up, but it's just so horrible. It's just so satanic how they killed people, and first they tortured them and tortured them and tortured and found the worst ways of torturing people, and then they slew them, and it's just horrible. Murdered them, So yeah, that's yeah, but so that's pretty yeah. So maybe maybe you actually could say that the Catholic Church actually did. If you left the Catholic Church, that would actually be a good chance that you would actually be murdered. If you wanted to translate the Bible, that would be a good chance that you could be murdered, and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth. And of course, it's the same today, actually. But it seems like we have it. It's the storm is settled at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't pick up in the Western world again very quickly. That the storms comes again, and then we have people getting murdered again because of this drunken whore riding the beast. Anyway, I think I said enough today. I'll try to fix it together and put it on YouTube. So, so Jehovah bless you all, and may Jesus be a precious pearl to you. He is the most precious pearl in the world. And let the Spirit of truth, the Holy Spirit, be in us all. Let us stand for truth and not for lies and not deceptions, but for truth. And let us, pull rope from Satan. Because if we're not going to pull rope from Satan or pull against him, he'll take the rope from us and we'll have no truth left, We have to pull rope to defend or to stand for the truth, so we don't lose it. Because if we don't care, we'll lose it. And we are losing a lot of things today. So we need to stand up. We need to pull rope. We need to take it seriously. We need to take the Bible seriously and not just, whatever, We need to stand for the truth. The world is not millions of years. It's not billions of years. It's a lie. It's a deception. It's paganism. It's satanic. It's wrong. And we shouldn't promote it. Doesn't matter if the world thinks we are crazy if we only believe the world is around 6,000 years. Doesn't matter what the world think of us. Let the world do whatever it does, right? Don't love the world. Don't care what the world thinks of you, The thing you need to care about is what does God think of you? Are you doing what God says and so forth? Are we coming to him instead of going to Satan? Are we learning from him? Are we, growing in wisdom? Yeah. Are we taking care of our children? Are we teaching them truth? Or are we murdering our children and teaching the lies, Are we going for marriage between a man or a wife, or are we just going single, or two men, together, or two women together, or a man and an animal, or whatever, or a child and a man, and so forth. What are we going to stand for truth in regards of God's law? Are we going to stand for wickedness? Are we going to follow the road of evil, of bad, of wickedness? Or are we going to follow the road of goodness and of righteousness and the way of God? So anyway, have a good one, all of you. I'm pretty much done here. Just talking. Bye bye. Shalom, as they say in Hebrew. Peace.